Tigers won 65-17 over the weekend. Saw a shakeup on the offensive front. Um, you still saw Will Campbell out there at left tackle, but they moved Garrett Dellinger to guard off center. They inserted Charles Center into the guard spot, kicked Miles Frazier out to the tackle spot, moved Bradford inside. A lot of moving parts. What did you think about the lineup, the way it shook out?
Yeah, I thought they played a lot better. I thought Will Campbell was a lot more consistent. I thought Dellinger, you take the snaps out in week one, he played well. And so I think, having him out there, he's earned that right. And to me, on the right side, I thought the right side played a lot better. So maybe they stick with this unit a little more. I think if you don't have any snap issues, I do like Dellinger at guard. So they probably should roll forward with this one. And then if they can get something going in the run game, I think they'll be huge, especially with these linemen that they have in there.
So with the offensive line, like when you're talking about what can we learn, what can't we learn, I don't think you can learn anything about the offensive line on the positive side against Southern. If they can't block Southern, well, then that's a whole – you can learn something from that. It means you got real problems. But as far as what they can do, I don't know that you learned much of anything. However, Brian Kelly did take a look at it on tape and said in his press conference today, you can expect to see more of that, meaning the lineup that you saw starting the game on Saturday. He also went out of his way to mention Emory Jones, saying he played well, and I think you'll see more of him, is what he said. Do you think Emory Jones at some point in this season is going to assert himself and become really in the mix as a potential starting player on this line?
Yeah, I think so. I think, looking at the offensive line, especially, with, who they have there, I don't think there's any proven, like, All-American, All-SEC, like, man, that guy he's got to play all season no matter what. I thought with Emory getting some reps, I'm seeing the staff, especially in this game, starting to get a lot of the younger guys some reps. And I thought Emory, in the time he did play, didn't give me any red flags, and he didn't get dominated or anything like that. So kind of give him some more reps, could let him start get some more momentum and start learning how this college offense works. And I think by the end of it, he'll definitely probably have a starting spot.
I thought they ran it okay. Again, it's hard to glean anything from it. Goodwin looked shifty and did a pretty good job, scored a couple touchdowns. Kane kind of plows straight ahead. He ran for 5 a carry, 51 on 10 carries. So, I don't think there's a lot you can take from LSU offensively running the football. You switch things around to the defensive side of the football. Again, I didn't see any significant busts. I was hoping we were going to see Southern really go tempo and try to push LSU a little bit, maybe to prepare you for Tennessee a little bit. That was I tried to sell you that on Friday. I don't know if it got home or not, but they didn't. And from a coaching perspective, it's the right thing to do, to try to slow the game, to speed the game up and try to, I guess slow the game down is the term I'm looking for, is try to shrink the game and run as few snaps as you can, because the more snaps Southern runs against LSU, the worse it's very likely going to go. So they slowed it down. They didn't go as fast as I thought they might, which is their MO. So I guess the positive for me is LSU seems to be in the right place on defense more often than not.
Yeah, they do. And I think for me, we talked about it last year. I remember even the start of the year, I think the McNeese had a big play up the sideline, busted coverage, and it's just I haven't seen that much with this defense. The safeties just seem a lot more in tandem. They know where to be. They're playing downhill. I thought Brooks played a lot better than he played in the first game, and I think Major Burns is definitely probably the best safety on the team. And so the safeties are playing a lot better. I still want to see a little more from the corners, but it seems Converse is probably going to be that guy. I still want to see a little more from Garner and a little more from Richardson. But as far as a whole, as the secondary goes, I thought they play, bend but don't break style. And I think for this team, that's something that they can carry out throughout the season.
No, Harold Perkins, I enjoyed watching where he lined up because they kind of moved him around a lot. They got him playing that jack every once in a while, maybe rushing the pass or something. They had him playing that traditional stack backer spot a little bit as well. To me, it's one of those deals where we know we've got this guy. He's really athletic. We think he can play, but maybe we grow him into a role as opposed to just play him in there as a starter, because they've got some guys who are maybe ahead of him on the depth chart at a more traditional spot. Where do you think he fits in as a freshman?
Yeah, I think he'll definitely be a starter on this defense. I think anytime you lead the team in tackles this early on in your career, no, it's against Southern, but that's impressive. And so for me, he kind of reminds me of like a Michael Parsons type athlete where, you can put him on the edge with all his speed. You feel like he can run around some people, but also you can stack him and let him play in space. He's just one of those kind of generational athletes where you just want to have him on the field and you want to have him out there making plays. So I thought it was, a huge thing for him not to pout without playing, the amount of snaps he did in week one, but to come in this game and, go out there and help his team. And so I think you'll definitely be seeing a lot more of Harold going forward.
He led the team in tackles with those 7. Desmond Little was out there a lot. He had 6 tackles, had a pass that he tipped the line of scrimmage, had a couple solo tackles. They're trying to you got Mason Smith out, so your front seven is going to look a little bit different. But the guy I think that has stepped in and really made the most of his opportunity has been Mekhi Wingo, who seems to be disruptive. He was disruptive against Florida State at times and certainly was against Southern. The stat sheet doesn't show up as much with a defensive tackle who's taking on double teams and getting penetration and blowing some things up. But if you were just watching the game, Wingo tended to show up.
Yeah, no, he's throwing guys off of him. He's throwing, college linemen who lift all summer and lift weights. He's grabbing those kids and he's throwing them out of the way. And that's the first thing I noticed, watching him. And it's kind of the exact opposite of when you look at Mason Smith. They're around the same weight, but Mason's standing at 6'6", and Mekhi can't be anything more than 6 feet. He's probably more like 5'11", but he's out there just being stout in the middle. And I think, when you lose a guy like Neil Farrell, you got a guy like Wingo that can kind of do some of the same similar things he did last year. And I think he's going to be a guy they definitely depend on a ton going forward.
I think so as well. Going to Brian Kelly's press conference today, some of the things that he noted. Look, John Emery is ready to go now. He has been cleared. The suspension has been served. He's ready to spring into action. Would not expect to see 21 carries for John Emery on Saturday. He said, look, we can't throw him in there with a massive workload. That's just not realistic. So I think you're going to see more of Kane and Goodwin in this Mississippi State game and maybe a sprinkling of Emery here or there. You played the position. How tough is it to ramp it up 2 games in and get in there when you haven't played in 2 years?
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking, 20-plus carries, I think that'll definitely be difficult. But I think, with all the, TV timeouts you have this day and age, I think you should be fine. They're going to rotate anyway. If to me, I put him out there and I let him play. I throw him right there in action. He's worked all last year. He's worked this year. He's done everything he can to put himself in a position to play in these games. I think you got to go out there and let him play. And I think, watching him as a runner and as an athlete, I think he's definitely by far the best that you have. So you got to put the guy that gives you the best opportunity to get some rush yards, make some big-time plays and big-time runs. And I think you put him out there and let him go.
He'll play a little bit on Saturday, as will Micah Baskerville, as he has the first 2 games, because he was supposed to be withheld from play for the first 2 games. They appealed and won for whatever is going on over there where guys are continually being told that they're ineligible for this or that. It appears they won an appeal with Micah Baskerville. That might lend itself to why we were out there in camp and he was so obviously not in the starting rotation when we thought he would be the most veteran piece to the linebacking core that was going to play as much as anybody and be a really productive player. But if you think you've got a 2-game suspension coming up, it makes sense to get some other guys a lot of reps. So they found out right before the Florida State game that he was going to be eligible to play. Now he's out there. Of course, has the interception in the game on Saturday night. He's been really good whenever he's been out there. It's just a matter of being out there. And at times, it looks like guys have beaten him out, or they're more talented guys in the roster. But whenever he's out there, he seems to make plays.
Oh yeah, he definitely does. And I thought for me, seeing him make that big-time pick 6, I thought was huge for him, huge for his confidence, huge for the team. And I think for me, he should have earned that spot. And actually, to me, kind of watching these first 2 games, I thought Mike Jones would be a lot better than what I've seen when he was out there. I've seen him miss a bunch of tackles, some tackles he probably shouldn't be missing. So I think for me, that opens up the door for a guy like Baskerville to get a lot more reps. And to me, Wes Weeks also, too. He looked a lot better. So I probably think those 2 guys, to me, are kind of the 2 best 2 sackbackers I've seen.
Sevyn Banks has not played. He's been in street clothes for the first 2 games. Brian Kelly addressed his situation today, said he is very close. They're looking at Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, how much he can do, and maybe he can go out there and play in the game on Saturday. That's to be determined, but he's trending in that direction against this Mississippi State team. The more DBs you can dress out, the more DBs you dress out.
Yeah, no, you need all the DBs you can get this week. They're going to be spreading you out. They're going to be hitting you with all type of little quick passes, drag passes. You're going to have to be able to tackle in space. That's something that I'm definitely going to be tuned into. Last year, I thought when you played them, you did a great job tackling with those guys, getting them on the ground. You forced that fumble early in the game, which was huge. So you're going to have DBs that can tackle in space. So as many bodies as you can have, I think that's going to be huge in this game.
I did not know who Greg Clayton was until Saturday night when he caught the first punt. I cover the team. I work for the school. I do 10 hours of radio here and 3 on the weekends. Never heard of him. Never once heard of Greg Clayton Jr. Had to go to my phone and immediately Google Gregory Clayton LSU and find out who he was. UTSA transfer from Letcher. I had no idea, but he's back there returning punts now. Again, I was very vocal last week and continue to be. I wanted Malik Neighbors to have another shot and go back there, especially in a game. Didn't matter if you muffed another one, but they go with the walk-on. Your thoughts on that moving forward?
Yeah, I've known Greg for actually a very long time. It's actually Jarvis's little cousin, so he was always always hanging out around Jarvis. Always, get in the football. I was catching on the jugs, and then when I saw him on the team, I was like, "Wait, what are you doing here?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'm on the team now." I was like, "Okay, I guess you're on the team now." And so to see him back there catching punts is just crazy to me to see. But he's sure-handed, and I think that's kind of what you kind of want to have going forward. Rather than the big playability, I'm not sure we're going to see him take any 75-yard punt returns to the house. But
I like that.
Yeah,
I
do
like
too.
the guy that can go 75. Although,
yeah, I do too.
If you drop punts, it's a bad deal. I get it.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of the happy medium the coaching staff is at. It's like, man, I know Malik's going to make guys miss, but do we trust him to go catch it time and time again? I think that's what they trust with Greg right now. Thanks so much for watching Hunt Hill on YouTube.
Now do us a favor. Hit the red subscribe button below and throw us a like. We'll see you next time.